and welcome to the Flossi podcast. Welcome back. I say welcome back. Maybe this is your first time here, and if it is, let me introduce myself. My name is Claire. I'm a maker and a knitwear designer, and I like to share those makes and those designs with people, which is what this podcast is all about. It's super chill and it's very woolly, and I love making all kinds of things. I like sewing, I like dabbling with a little bit of needle punching here and there, but it is primarily a knitting podcast because that's my favourite thing to do. And that's basically what you're going to get here, is me showing off my knits and my works in progresses and chat a little bit about knitwear design. It's not always me just on my own, because I do have my little furry podcast companion who I'm not sure where she is right now. Tilly will probably make an appearance at some point. If you've watched this podcast before, you will be well averse with Tilly because she comes in like a little bulldozer. But she went swimming this morning, so she's somewhere in the house snoozing right now, so she might pop up because she does like being on camera. So my little pup might be along at some point, but we'll see. She comes and goes as she pleases. But she might make an appearance at some point. But up until then, it is just me, and I'm going to chat about some knitting today. It's been quite a while since my last podcast, and I've been working on quite a few things. I've actually been not doing very much personal knitting at all over the last month, just because I've been working on a new design. But I'm not going to show you too much about that today. Because I've actually been recording some bits here and there of that I'm going to do for another video later on. But I will show you a few things at the end so you can see a few glimpses of that, because I'm really excited about it. But for today, we're going to chat about another one of my designs that I promised to show you in my last podcast, that I'd be showing you the next one, and I wasn't lying. It was just a little extra time in between than I planned. But I told you in that episode that I'd got a pattern in the latest publication from Laine, which is 52 Weeks of Shawls. They very kindly sent me this contributor's copy. Here it is. And it's a gorgeous book. It's really beautiful, and there's some stunning designs in here. So I feel really kind of a little overwhelmed, I'm not going to lie, to be amongst such beautiful designers and other designs. So I really couldn't be prouder, and I'm really excited to share it with you today. This is my design on the pages right here. This is Hiraeth, and I just love the photography that they've done in this book. It's beautiful. Like I said, there's some absolutely gorgeous designs in here. There's another one. There's some photos there too. And it's just lovely. It's such a lovely book, and it feels really nice. It's got this gorgeous cover, like this fabric-y kind of cover thing going on. And it's lovely. And they very kindly also sent back my sample. Which going into, they sent it back quite a few weeks ago now, and it got insanely hot here in Canada. It got a lot of use, and I'm going to show it to you now. Here it is. Ooh, in kind of real life. It's so big. I'm not one, I don't like small shawls. They always fall off. I get why people wear them, but for me, I just get a bit, I don't know, I can never keep them on my shoulders. So if I have a shawl, I want it to be a big shawl that I can really snuggle up in. But I'll be honest, if this shawl was any bigger, then I think it would be a blanket, not a shawl anymore. So I'd probably stop just at the right point. But yeah, I was really glad to have the sample back. So let's chat a little bit about the design. When I put this submission in, it was actually, because it's been in the works for a really long time, and it was when I just moved to Canada permanently. So I'm originally from England, and I moved here to Halifax, Nova Scotia, a couple of years ago, and I put this submission in just after I moved here, and I still feel homesick now, but I felt very homesick at the time. And yeah, this is something that when I knit it, I wanted something like a big bear hug of a thing, like a comfort blanket. See, I told you it was big. Like a comfort blanket of a shawl that you could snuggle up in. And I think comfort was really kind of like at the heart of the design. And that kind of went into the actual construction of it as well. Because I mentioned on the podcast here before that I'm a very process knitter. I love the final thing, but it's all about knitting the thing for me. And I like to tackle a complex pattern now and again, but my favourites are always going to be the ones where you can sit and you can cast on, and once you've got a couple of repeats done, then it's in your brain and you can just go with it and go with the flow. And that's really what this design is like for me, at least. And I'm going to talk you through how it's constructed now. So, quick overview. It's like a triangular asymmetrical shawl, and it actually starts right here. I'm gonna splice in a few other little video things, because I find if I start standing up, I'm gonna knock something over right now. So I'll film a few things separately and pop them in, which hopefully I'm doing right now as I'm talking. Then you can see all the details. But it actually starts with you cast along this edge, so the bottom of the shawl, so you get all your cast on done all at once, which takes a little time, I'm not gonna lie. If you're not a huge fan of casting on a lot of stitches, this isn't a lot of stitches, because this is also in like a heavy DK. But yeah, that is one of the only things. But once the stitches are cast on, then it's all downhill from there, because you're just going to be decreasing. So as you knit through the shawl, you're going to get less and less stitches as you go. So it begins with an alternative cable cast on in 2x2 rib, which gives you this really nice kind of rounded edge, if you can see there. And you cast on all the stitches, and then do your little 2x2 edge, which then will flow right into the lace panel that runs up the side of it, right there. So, which is one of my guilty pleasures. I love having any edging that I do. I don't like it if there has to be a reason for the edging to be there for me. Even if it's like, I just like it when it flows into the pattern. I don't like things to feel disjointed. I like them to like fit in like a nice little puzzle, which made me really happy when that all worked out the way I worked it with the lace panel, because you can see the pearl stitches kind of go straight from the rib, go straight into the lace panel right here. There we go. So that's one of my favourite things about the pattern, and I spent quite a lot of time working that out. This is one of those patterns that to knit is very straightforward. To design, it kind of threw up quite a few little just little technical issues, of especially where, first of all, where the placement of the lace pattern was, and then where the decreases fall across that lace pattern, which I'll show you in a moment. So yeah, it kind of goes, it starts off at the bottom with this lace panel running at the side, and the rest is just squishy garter stitch. So it's a lot of relaxing, mindless knitting with and the lace panel is only, gotta forget myself now, I think it's only a 6-row repeat, no, 10-row repeat. 6 would be ridiculous. So yeah, it's just a 10 row repeat on the actual chart, but they're just staggered a little bit is all you have to like keep in mind. But yeah, I love this lace repeat. I'm not a huge lace fan. I like it as I definitely like it as like an accent to things, but I like a simple lace, mainly because it confuses me. I'll freely admit it. I get really confused with complex lace. I always lose where I'm up to, and then I'm looking back through the charts and the written instructions, and I just get myself in a tuck. So it's always simple lace for me because my brain can't cope with it. But yeah, and then so as I mentioned, you just decrease along the diagonal, and the edging is I kept the edging in like in stockinette, so it just kind of runs along this nice neat edge, which comes straight up again from the 2x2 rib, which made me really happy too. And you decrease all the way across, and then finally across the lace panel, and that was the tricky part. That was one of the tricky parts, was because when I first started swatching for it, and I thought, oh, it's going to be fine because then you're just decreasing and the lace pattern's already set up, so you can just decrease and go right across it. But of course, if you're not careful where that is placed, then you end up going across the lace, which made it really complicated to then write it out as a pattern to also be moving and doing the yarn overs for the lace and then doing the decreases. It got ridiculous. So I had to like adjust the lace panel a little bit, the spacing on it, and then exactly how many stitches were going to be cast on at the beginning to make sure it hit the lace panel just at that perfect spot to go across. So yeah, that took a little bit of brain power, for me at least, it did, and but it worked out really well because now you get this seamless flow across. So even though by the time you're decreasing across this lace panel here, this one is still, these are still being knit here, but you just miss them, and it just goes over in a nice neat line, which makes me very happy. But it does mean if you have this pattern in 52 Weeks of Shawls and you're looking at it and saying, Claire, I want to knit it, but you made a blanket and I want a smaller version, you can totally do a smaller version of this. You just cast on less stitches, but just be wary that if you don't calculate the right amount to kind of hit that lace panel, because say you could make it smaller, but you'd want to be hitting the lace panel here as you decrease. If you want to make, I can't remember myself, if you want to kind of go across there instead. If you're not precise, you're going to end up going over this lace panel here. Which, you know what, if you're just doing it, and you could probably fudge it a little bit and it won't be a huge deal. You know, if you're kind of quite a confident knitter and you're going across and you can just kind of like smudge it a little bit, then absolutely go for it, don't worry about it. But if you do want it to fall in the exact same way as it is here, then yeah, you're gonna just have to make sure that it lands right there where you're doing it. So just calculate, I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, just work out how many stitches across and then cast that off, don't cast that on. Does that make sense? So detract that many stitches from your beginning cast on to make it smaller. If you're watching this and I'm confusing you, I make a lot more sense when I'm not just talking out loud. So if you are doing it, you want to make it smaller and you're kind of confused about it, just email me at hello@flossiknits.com and I'll be more than happy to help you. I can let you know how many to decrease by properly then, and we'll work it out together once I've sat in front of my calculator. But yeah, I'm so excited to have it back, and I'm just really thankful and grateful to Laine and to Echo View Mill, who I asked if they would do yarn support for this for me, And they said yes. They were so lovely to work with. So this is the Ranger Merino. This is the red tail colour, if I remember rightly, which is a beautiful kind of, it's like a brick orange colour. Let me just double check there. Yes, red tail. I hope the colour's showing up well on camera, because it's this gorgeous kind of, it's like a burnt orange, I'd say, but it's kind of got some really corally undertones to it as well. And these tiny little flecks of, like, it's quite a complex colour. It's got like almost tiny little nubs in it that give it a slight tweedy effect. It's a beautiful, beautiful yarn. If you ever manage to get your hands on a couple of skeins, if it's available to you, I can't recommend it enough, because it's a merino, but it's got a little bit of a bite to it. So I think it's going to wear very well, because merino's beautiful and soft, and it's a lovely fibre, but it does tend to pill quite a bit, and it might not wear quite as well down the line. But I think this definitely would. It's a woolen spun, and it's just lovely. It's a lovely yarn, so I can't recommend that more. And a huge thank you to Laine. I'll pop the links below to Echo View so you can check them out, and there are other gorgeous colourways, because they have some beautiful colourways that they do. And I'll pop the link below to where you can get this directly from Laine, the book. So yeah, super excited about that, and really happy that I can share it with you now. Because I think last time we spoke, I was just mentioning that I was allowed to start talking about it. And yeah, it's just really exciting to share it with you all. So I'd also love to hear if you've already got the publication. If you've knit anything from it, if there's anything you're working on, please let me know, because I've had no time for a lot of personal knitting, and there are a few other ones in here that I'd like to try myself. This one I think is really, this could be really lovely. This is called Rough, which is beautiful too. I like how simple it is. It has some really lovely lines, just really wearable, and then some really complex things like this I find really interesting. This is a cowl, but some really interesting construction details. It's a really nice range of quite simple. I definitely put mine more in like that if you're new to shawl knitting, and you know, it's quite like a simple pattern, and then you get some in there that are very complex feeling. So there's a really nice range of patterns in there, and I mean, at 52 it's a lot of patterns in one book, so you're bound to get a good range. So I really recommend it if you can get a hold of it. But yeah, that's Hiraeth, which is actually a Welsh word that also means kind of like a yearning for home, which I thought was a perfect word for this, because that's exactly how I felt when I designed it. So yeah, I hope you like it. It's been getting a lot of wear up until the humidity going crazy. It's so hot here. I had to hopefully we'll be all right lasting through the podcast. I had to turn our air conditioner off because it's really noisy when I'm recording. So I originally thought that I might film this out on our deck, because I've been doing a lot of gardening, and all my plants are coming out and everything's starting to flower, because I'm not a very good gardener, but I'm a very enthusiastic one. I think I love them too much because a lot of things tend to die, but I'm very enthusiastic about it and I really like them. So we were gonna film out there so you could have a look at the plants and us be in the air, but it is so hot that I would have melted by the end, and it's really muggy too, so the mosquitoes are out, so you don't need to see that, me flapping away the mosquitoes. So maybe next time, maybe when I film next time, it'll be a little cooler, and we can go outdoors for a little fun trip, but we'll see. But for now, we'll stay put, and I actually have something to show you next. So I have 2 projects on my needles that I want to share with you today. But before we get to those, I got something in the post this morning that I'm super excited about. It arrived just in time, and I should have waited and done like an unpacking thing, but I was too excited when I opened it up. I treated myself recently. I'm not a very frivolous person when it comes to like suddenly, ooh, I'm gonna buy that when people have shop updates. I tend to be quite like hesitant. But Wildwood Stitches, make sure you've seen that properly, recently had a shop update. And I honestly, I couldn't resist. I love a project bag. And as soon as I saw these ones, I just had to have it. I couldn't. It was one of those things. And also, I've been kind of wanting for a while to purchase something from Hiraeth. Wildwood Stitches is a company based in Scotland, in the Highlands, and she makes these gorgeous project bags, and they're just so beautifully made. I've seen them around for a while now, and I kept saying to myself, next time I want to, I have a little money saved up and I want to treat myself, I'd love to buy one of her project bags, because I just love what she's doing. Everything's very sustainably made, and it's just so beautifully made as well. And it's just, I don't know Hiraeth personally at all. We've talked briefly in comments on Instagram. It's one of those kind of things. But I could just tell that it's just beautifully made. Her work's absolutely lovely, and she always creates, she does such beautiful pairings. So this is, she uses Harris tweed on the bottom, and she always pairs it with the most lovely fabrics on the top, and then if you look, it's kind of lined with this gorgeous thistle fabric, and she always sews on her little logo button on the little wooden button. It's just beautiful, and I was so excited, and it got here really quick. Normally anything from the UK, well, anything from anywhere really, if it's even things from in country, Canada Post isn't always the swiftest, and things do tend to get a bit stuck at the border, and with everything with COVID, and it's fair enough. So I'm always more than happy to wait for things, so I kind of didn't expect this to arrive for at least another good week. And then I just checked on tracking last night. I was like, oh, it's been delivered. So I thought, perfect, because I was planning on recording today. I thought I'd get to show this off, and not do my usual Claire thing of, oh, I'll shut down the podcast, and then 2 months later I managed to record. So yeah, I really wanted to share that with you today. She does shop updates, so she doesn't tend to have things in stock all the time, just because she hand makes everything. So you can have to get in fairly quick when she has a shop update, because things do go, because they're starting to get very popular. But I just wanted to share that with you today. I had to go for this one. The fabric reminds me so much of being at Inveraray in Scotland, which is where my husband proposed that day that we got into Inveraray, and when we were on like a little trip, and we actually went back there for a little mini honeymoon after we got married, and it reminds me of the Inveraray Castle right there, and then there was always the Highland Castle around in the grounds, and I thought, oh, it's just so lovely. So yeah, I thought it felt very special, and I'm so excited to have one. And I have this cute project bag that I can put my fun things in. So yeah, so anyway, let's move on to the projects, but I'm going to put all of the details for Wildwood Stitches down in the comments below. And yeah, please do check them out if you can, because Hiraeth just has some really lovely things. So thank you, Hiraeth, for getting it to me so quickly. I was really surprised, and it's going to get a lot of use. I know it's all gorgeously padded and sturdy. So now we just need some things to go in it. And the first thing I want to show you is I actually have a pair of socks on the needles, which I thought I would have done by now, but I don't, because as I said, I've been working on my new design quite solidly because I want to get the sample knit. So I'm not as far along with them as I'd have hoped, but that's okay. That's what personal projects are all about. And I've got like a nice little travel project on that I'm traveling very far, but that I can take outside with me and work on when I want to. And these are the stone fruit socks from Rain Cloud and Sage. So my lovely friend Ruth, who has a yarn company, Rain Cloud and Sage, this is her Nord base, which is a beautiful, beautiful yarn with a gorgeous origin story behind it. I'll pop all the details below, but she recently released an ebook all about natural sock yarn and knitting with natural sock yarn, and there's some amazing articles in there and all about how to take care of your hand knit socks with natural yarn. So this is with no nylon in or any superwash or anything like that, which, you know, can be tricky to knit with. It's fair enough. It's, you know, nylon does give socks more strength, but it's also not a super sustainable thing to use in yarn. So Ruth has been looking at creating this ebook for a while where it talks about how to take care of your knits, mending, all those kind of things, the benefits of working with natural sock yarn. And it's a really, really lovely ebook, so I'll pop the details for that below. But one of the patterns that she did for it was the stone fruit socks, which I just thought was so cute. So the knit top down, and they start with this cute little cuff, which is just it's just a 1x1 rib, but then it's broken with this yarn over pattern, a little lace stitch, and then it goes straight into a slip stitch heel, and then it has like this broken rib, a 3x1 rib that goes all the way down the foot. And I just think they're the sweetest little ankle socks, and I should have had them done by now, really, because they're such a quick knit, but it's been one of those things. Other things have completely taken over my knitting lately, so yeah. But that's fine. That's the whole fun of it. But I really wanted to show you these because I think they're a really fun summer project. If you're not one for knitting big projects in the summer, and you know, if you are somewhere that's really warm, it can be a bit much to have like something big and lumpy on your lap while you're knitting. So these are perfect, like a little pair of ankle socks. I really recommend those. And I'm knitting them in Ruth's yarn Nod, and this is in the stone fruit colourway, which is this gorgeous pink, like a dusky pink. It reminds me a lot of avocado dyes, which I think that's why Ruth named it stone fruit, because she has worked with a lot of avocado dyes as well in the past. So yeah, gorgeous pattern and really straightforward. And so you're looking for an easy, mindless knit, definitely go for it. Ooh, I get to keep this in my new project bag now. They can pop in there for now. This is, I don't think I mentioned this is the shawl size of the bags that I got. But let's face it, my behemoth shawl's not getting in there, and it's already done. So I'm going to keep my socks and my other project in it for now. And talking about other projects, I actually have a scarf on the needles. This is the Watershed Scarf, and this is from issue 5 of Making Stories magazine. If you've not heard of Making Stories before, here's issue 5. So I've definitely mentioned this on the podcast before, but I'll mention it again now. I'm very used to talking about issue 5 because I work for Making Stories. So yeah, I design under Flossi in my spare time, but my day job is working for Making Stories as their marketing and social media manager. So I look at this magazine a lot, but I genuinely want to knit everything from it. That's not me saying it because I work for them or because they pay me things. I fell in love with the Watershed Scarf. Can see that straight away. It's such a beautiful pattern, and I'm not really normally one for knitting scarves. I always feel like scarves are one of those things that you tend to learn to knit on, and then, well, at least for me, I knit scarves early on, and then I moved on, and then I discovered knitting sweaters, and then I couldn't stop knitting sweaters forever. And I don't know, I never seem to like be drawn to knitting scarves anymore, but then I saw this one and I just absolutely loved it. It's such a beautiful pattern. Q, the designer, has just, I'm gonna put her details below, because this Watershed is honestly just the tip of the iceberg. She's such a beautiful designer. I'm just getting another close-up photo. And she does a lot with cables, but she always, they're in a really interesting way. They just like seamlessly merge into each other, and it's just beautiful. She does things with texture that I just think are a little different to other patterns that are around at the moment, and I just love her work. So I got this on my needles. This is Durum Natura, and the gilet base, which is, I think it's worsted weight. Again, I'll put all the details below, and I'm blanking on the name of this gorgeous like acid yellow colour. So this was originally another sweater that I knit that didn't fit me. I kind of knit it all and started seaming it, and it was way too small, so it sat in a sad little lump forever. And then I thought, ooh, it would work really well for this pattern. So I frogged it all back and cast it on, and I've been having so much fun. Well, I was having a lot of fun with this until I had to swap midstreams to get my my other sample done. But I absolutely loved, I can't wait to get back to it. And I love that it's got this garter background, because that's the other thing with scarves. I always find, depending on what stitch pattern you use, it's hard to get an exciting stitch pattern that's not going to curl up a lot of the time. And that's always been my problem with scarves before. When I've knit them, I've ended up with like a curly thing that's just annoying. So I love that this, you get all the cabley goodness with that gorgeous garter stitch background. So yeah, that is the other project on my needle at the moment. I'm hoping by the time we podcast again that I'll have moved on with all those projects, but by then hopefully I'll also have my other sample to show you of my new design. So yeah, I'm excited for all these things, and I'm really looking forward to wearing this come fall. I'm going to pop this in my nice exciting thing again. There we go. So those are the things that are on my needles at the moment. Like I said, I'm kind of working on some design work at the moment, and I'm also working on some other plans for my website, which over the next couple of months I'll be sharing a little bit more with you. For quite a while now, I've been trying to work out how to kind of engage with people more and make my website more of a usable space for people, but I didn't really know exactly what that meant. So that's a little bit of a work in progress, and I've got some plans, and I'm hoping to keep sharing those with you as I go. So watch this space. Like I said, I've been doing some other filming here and there that's not quite ready to share with you on YouTube, which is why I've been quite quiet. But I've got quite a few things in the works, and I'm really looking forward to sharing those with you. But yeah, until then, check me out on Instagram, because I'm going to be posting a lot more over there over the next couple of months. Just teasing other things I'm doing, but also watch this space on YouTube, because there's going to be a few more things coming very soon, hopefully, at least in the next couple of weeks. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We've gone a whole episode without Tilly making an appearance, so I'm going to go find her to make sure she's not outside in a sun patch because it's way too hot for that. And yeah, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you liked the things that you saw, and I'd love to know what you're up to and what you're knitting. And yeah, if you like this, then please do subscribe, and give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you thought it was rubbish, give it a big thumbs down. That's okay too, you know, whatever you feel like. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you again soon. Have a great week, and a great month if I don't speak to you until next month, and take care everyone. Thanks again. Bye. I found her. She was out here snoozing with the flowers. Okay. You missed the podcast. She doesn't care. She's just with the flowers.